Hello everyone. This video is the 2021 recap of all the things that I learned um, and all the things that I failed at. So this is the second year in which I'll be doing this. So I know it's already late. It's almost mid February here, and I was almost about to skip making this video, but then there was something about the last year's video. It's not many people are going to watch it, but it is something that helps me to go back year wise and then lets me see what all things that I learned that year, and it brings those things back into my mind. So here it is again, things that I learned in 2021. So, as per the video format in the last year's video, in which I covered 2020, how 2020 was for me, uh, this video will also be in two broader sections. First one is for people who have not seen the 2020 video, and by that I mean a lot of people. So, my motto in life is to calm your mind and be consistent. So in last year's video, in 2020's video, I divided the video in two sections where I first discussed the uh, things that I learned in calming my mind and the things that I learned in being consistent. So recapping 2021, it was much more inclined towards on the being consistent part, and I think I've pretty much calmed my mind already, but there were some problems here and there, but I think I made a very good improvement in being consistent over time. So there were few things that I learned along the way which were really helpful. So number one was the idea of shortest path to the target. So this has been a problem with me for a very long time. Like I'll see some target that I like, okay, I should do this, right? And then what will happen is I will start adding sub targets to that main target. And what happens is that over time, because the thing is, I try to end up doing too many things at time. Like the original idea behind doing one particular thing was something else, but then I think, okay, if I do this also, then it'll add to this part also. And what that used to do was, bloat the target to a point which will increase its timeline, and then it becomes frustrating and you are not really enjoying it. So even for a very simple thing, I feel like that this is a very good idea, that always find the shortest path to the target. But let's say for your small tasks or some big tasks that you take, like some tasks that you'll be doing for 3 months or 4 months or 6 months, it's very nice to be clear that what is the shortest path to the target, and am I deviating from it, or is this really necessary, and what is the minimum thing that I can do to achieve to reach my target. So that was something that I learned. The other important thing was never try to do more than two things at once. So previously it was very hard for me to focus on one thing entirely, continue in being consistent on one project itself. But as I upped my game in the previous years, I have reached a point where I can do two projects easily at the same time. And here in two project basically means, first thing is the office work. You can't neglect your office work. You have to be at your best in your office work. But other than that, the time that you have after office hours or what you have during the weekend, if you try to do more than one thing during that time, it's going to result in a big headache. It has been that way for me till now. So I will do only two things at once, and that might sound very rudimentary to other people, but for a person who like me, who always wanted to do everything at the same time, sorry, forcing myself to do only two things is really tough, because you have to choose, okay, what, like office work you can't leave, right? Because that's how you earn money. So what is the one other side project that I'll be doing, and which one is the most important right now? Now, that leads to me the third point that I realized, that I started appreciating it since 2020, but that thing solidified in 2021, which is things take time. I have always been in a hurry to achieve projects, and I would overestimate my abilities, and I would just think that if I do this, and this, somehow this big task will be accomplished. But being consistent and trying to do quality work has taught me one very important thing, and which is things take time. And what that basically means, I think I've covered in one of my previous videos, that when you're actually trying to learn something, it takes time. uh, and and when you're trying to build something from scratch, and in your in your mind you'll have an idea like, okay, if I do this and do this, that thing will be done, but that's not how things actually turn up to be. And building something and doing things the proper way, they take time. So that is why I came to the conclusion that I should only take two things at a time, because if I take more than two things or three things, my brain will become super heavy in the processing cycles of how to manage what thing at what time and when to do things. Another interesting thing which I realized was, to do more, you will have to subtract more. Uh, what does that mean? So let's say I already have two tasks that I'm trying to do, right? And the thing is, if there is some small task that I want to do, like some little bit time that I can do, I want to do something extra on the side, then I can't create any more extra time for that, because if I try to get into the processing cycles of I have to do these two tasks, and then I have to somehow find little bit time for this third task here, which is not a very important thing, but it's like a continuous thing that can happen over years. Then the idea is that the only way you can do that is by dropping time from something else that you're already doing. And that for me was consumption of um, information through social media and YouTube channels, and that is something that I'm very glad to share that in 2020 video I discussed that this was one of my failures, but I am happy to tell you guys that it's under control now. So once I did that, it's very nice because my brain feels lighter. So because now between each new task, each different subtask, whenever I have time, I'm not scrolling through my phone, so my brain somehow gets some little bit rest. So a, that is a good thing. And b, it kinds of removes the non-essential information from your mind. I mean, for entertainment sake and all those things, social media is nice and YouTube is nice, but for me it had more it had become sort of a time filler rather than something useful. So once I removed that aspect of my life, I was easily saving 1 or 2 hours a day, and that is something that I could use for other things. So that's when it hit me that if I have to do something more, something extra, I'll have to remove or get time from something previously that I was doing, which I'll have to remove so that I get time for something new. Let's talk about the things that I learned in calm your mind part of my life. One particular thing that really helped me this year, which was choosing to smile. So whenever these moments come when you are overwhelmed and you are overworked, and you don't feel like doing right, everything feels pointless. At that time, if you choose to smile, right, somehow things get light, and it's not like a fake smile. I'm talking about. Uh, it's like look where I have ended up again. It's that kind of a realization, and just a little bit smile, and when you do that, you relax your eyebrows, and somehow your natural instincts kick in, and you that small smile that you give to yourself turns into a big smile, and you realize, okay, I have done this mistake again. And It's no problem. We can figure it out. So always choosing to smile in these difficult moments when you don't have any answer for yourself. Yeah, and second thing that I realized was the difference between a planning versus learning mindset. So mindset is really important when it comes to consistency, because our brains are not meant, are not really built for working this way. And also, uh, if you maintain a good mindset of why are you doing this, and if you have in place uh, very good habits for yourself, then you can iteratively improve your mindset or maintain a constant mindset. Previously, everything about me was about planning. So I wanted to do this thing. So how do I achieve this? I'll do this, I'll do that, I'll do that. And that process in my mind is inherently heavy. It's not interesting. Whereas if I change the problem statement to how am I going to learn to solve this problem? See, in both the cases, I don't know how will I eventually solve the problem. But in one mindset, I'm giving myself the headache of how do I do this versus how will I actually learn how to do this. So um, it works for me. Like it changes your mindset, not from trying to achieve a task, but it changes your mindset towards that you're trying to learn something, and that with each new things, what all did you learn till this point, and where can we go from now, instead of like from the moment when you have to plan, okay, by this month I'll have to do this, and by this month this should be done. So I found that new mindset very refreshing. So whenever I have to do something new, I try to think of it, how do I learn to solve this task? And that helps me a lot. So these were the good things that I learned, or sort of like mini successes that I had this year. And talking about failures, I had multiple confidence crises this year, but I have had multiple of them over the course of 30 years that I have lived. So when your confidence a crisis happens in your confidence, it's not really easy to identify that it's a confidence crisis, but um, it's like you start feeling like, are you even good enough, or is this really worth it? Why are you wasting time in such things? And it's not a good feeling. You feel like um, that you actually are not that smart enough, and why are you taking such big task and putting yourself through all this, and you just don't feel good about yourself. And I think it was this year for the first time that I realized, okay, this is a crisis of confidence, and I am just in this state for some time. This is not how I am all the time, because um, I have worked a lot to be where I am right now, and uh, I might not be smart enough, or so. Maybe this crisis is true, but um, my things are not as bad as my brain is trying to tell me right now. So it's identifying that this is a temporary moment, and it will get over soon, and you just need some sleep. One failure that I noticed was when I started focusing too much on consistency. Somehow, this loop of information that I had from different sources like books or podcasts, that is somehow closed off. So I'm not getting new key information from different areas to something about how to calm your mind more, or being consistent. But so like the random nuggets that you get from different places like podcasts or books, somehow when I started focusing on too much on consistency in work, I have sort of closed off that path. So I'll have to work on that to make sure that I keep getting these new information which can help me improve over time. And that was something that I didn't really do much on in 2021, but I will surely focus on them in 2022. So yeah, that's it, guys. It was fun to document all this, and I hope I see this for 5 years from now, and I see some interesting patterns from 2020 and 2021, and then maybe they help me, or maybe they help someone who's watching it. And yeah, just I just hope so. Okay, thank you guys.